Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the 2015-24 Malta Open live from the Eden Super Bowl in St George's Bay, Malta. Players just starting the first squad of the day, and we'll run through the squad list for you now. From Switzerland, Anina Gerler, Kenneth Harper from Malta, Jamie Alder from England, Sarah Zareb from Malta, Matt Forsyth from England, Justin Shikluna from Malta, Ian Alexandra, England, Yanis Stathatos, Greece, Gert Swafs, Belgium, Ronnie Moan, Norway, Rune Anderson, Norway, oh they look like no-shows, there's X's next to them, they're maybe still in bed. Daniel Swift, Malta, Brett Armour, England, James Wigmore, England, Mauro Anastasi from Malta, Mike Gerler, Switzerland, Dennis Machia from Malta, Bart van Kekoven, Belgium, Julius Emil Hopke, Norway, Daniel Balsam, England, Bodhild Jackveld, Norway, Ben Harvey from England, Evripidis, we call him Lampus because we can't pronounce his second name, but he knows who he is, Evripidis from Cyprus, Muriel Mora, Switzerland, Olivia Habersat from Switzerland, and Raymond Tackle from Norway. My name's Dom Gall from TalkTemping.net, and a special thanks this week to our partners, streaming partners, Dutch Bowling TV, Marco Landman and Simon Sheppers. Also Bowling Digital, Herbert Bickle, Pete Groweiler and Flavio Cuva. And last but by no means least, QubicaAMF, who very generously put some money into the pot, which Talk Temping has passed over to the tournament, which means each player now, or each squad, will have a €50 squad prize for the top bowler. A special thanks to Roger Creamer and Darren Lewis at QubicaAMF. We will be running their adverts. You'll get a chance to have a look at the awesome BestX scoring system from QubicaAMF, the latest scoring system on the market and by far the best. If you've not had a look at it yet, just Google BestX, BESX. Thanks to everybody that's joined us again this morning. Hope we're going to put on a good show. And it promises to be an exciting day, actually. We've seen some fantastic scores in the last couple of days, not least last night. 15.55 from Swede Annie Thorell. First time in Malta. She bowls games of 248, 268, 288. So she was at 820 plus after the first three. 248 again. Hang on, we'll start again. 248, 268, 288, 248, 248, 207, 225, 253, 211, 256, 205, 201 for 28.58 scratch and 29.54 with ladies bonus. In second place overall, Kenneth Harper is back on the lanes today with 29.04. In third place from Sweden, Alexandra Larsson with 28.26. Rob Thirlby, who bowled a 300 a couple of days ago in the tournament, 28.26. In fourth, Amanda Larkin from Ireland in fifth place with 28.21. And in the chasing pack, players that have just bowled 6 games at the moment, Ramon Hilfering had 14.99, 249 average for his first 6 games of 290, 227, 267, 228, 209 and 278. The Iceman, we call him. Ramon's come second in this tournament 2 years in a row, and he's determined to go one better this time. So settle back and enjoy a little bit of cool bowling. 2 cameras set up at the moment. We're going to stick in the middle of the house. And the players in front of you at the moment include Matt Forsyth, Justin Shikluna, Ian Alexander, Yanis Stephatos, Gert Swaffs, Olivier Habasat, Daniel Swift, and Raymond Tackle. Trying to find his name then on the list. Ustreamer 23951. Good morning, Dom. Do I know you? Matt Forsyth opens up with the front three. Won medals in the Deaf Championships a couple of weeks ago. Former runner-up of the London International, I believe, or did he win it? I'm not sure, I'll have to check with him. We will be interviewing the squad winner in the virtual studio, the QubicaAMF virtual studio. Doing a little bit of green screen this week. Not really seen it done on live stream before, but we've made it work so far. And we'll try and get a few interviews throughout the day. We will have super slow-mo at some point, thanks to Bowling Digital's Flavio Cuba. And I'm sure there'll be a few surprises here, there and everywhere. Good morning, Malta, and Dom, says Ustreamer 8008. Yeah, if you're not logging in with your name, just let us know who you are and where you're from. Just so we can kind of put a name to the numbers. We've got another 4 squads today, and I believe another 2 or 3 tomorrow. If you want to check the details, you can go to talk10pin.net and also edensuperbowl.com. It's 23951 is the Banham gang watching. Hi guys, missing you this year. You should have been over. You don't have to play. You should have come just for the holiday and watch. I hope everybody's okay in the Banham household. Freddie recovering from major surgery last year. Matt Forsyth adds another one for the front three. We suspect we might well be seeing a 1600 at some point. The players are edging ever closer. Maybe you guys out there in Europe can double check for us what is the European record for 6. I do know Martin Larsen had 1603 in Turkey a few years ago, but I believe that was beaten. I think it's about 1620 or 1630, I'm not sure. Kenneth Harper opens up with a front 3 and then an 8 count. Already second in the standings, but I think he obviously feels he can stick a few more sticks on his score. As we watch Matt, oh no, we're on the other camera now. Matt Forsyth adds another one for 4 in a row. And we're there with Big Knee Bend, Parker Bone. Oh no, it's not, it's Daniel Swift. And a Brooklyn strike. Good morning, Dom, Sandro and Canini from Switzerland. Hi, Sandro. Hope the family's well. But yep, a few Swiss youngsters over this year. Rick Vogelsang, the national coach there, wants to see these players get some international experience. So we'll have a look at some of the young Swiss players. Are bound to be a little bit nervous at first. Some of them, I don't think they've played outside the country. Malta's been popular with the Swiss over the years. Bijimanico, Biet Graweiler are over again this year with Flavio Cuva, the genius of bowling digital fame. As Matt Forsyth just goes through the face and leaves a split. Looking a little bit worse for wear this morning, Matt. He only got here yesterday and fell into the same trap a lot of players do. Come on, we'll go out for a couple of drinks, and a couple turns into 3 and 4, and then you realise that you've got a squad in the morning. I don't know, when I was a kid, we used to hammer the beer and still bowl well. You get not a lot of sleep and you'd be running on adrenaline. It's not exactly a sportsman type thing to do, but it kind of worked for us when we were kids. I don't think I could do it these days. I'm a bit old for that now. Get a good night's sleep, play a squad. And Sandro says, yeah, everything is fine, enjoying every minute with my little girl, born 3 weeks ago. I know that feeling, Mark. Sandro, mine's 6 now. They say they grow up fast, and believe me, they do. To be honest, the first 6 months of a baby it's cute, but it's a bit boring. They don't do much, but then when they start looking at your face and smiling and starting to recognise, and it's a joy. It changes you. I would give a shout out to my little girl, but she should be at school by now. Oh, actually, no, it's 8:30. She'd just be getting ready to go to school. So just coming up to the halfway point of this first game. And it looks like Matt Forsyth and Kenneth Harper seem to be the pick of the players down this side of the house. We have a big silver pillar in the way that we can't see beyond 15 to 18 being used. We've got the camera for there, but there's no live scoring, unfortunately, in Malta. But if the bosses of Eden Super Bowl are watching, and QubicaAMF, you guys could get together and get Best X in this system ready for the 25th next year. That'd be awesome if we can have some live scoring next year and a really cool new scoring system. Oh, and another Ustreamer there. Got you streamed on the 50-inch screen, Dom. So tell everyone to smile. Is it looking good on 50-inch? We're a bit disappointed, actually. The internet connection's not quite as fast and stable as it was last year, and we did want to go to YouTube so we could do full HD, but we're uncertain if that's going to be possible. We're going to try and get the technical guys in and squeeze a little bit more juice out. But it would be nice to go to full HD for the finals. But as long as it's coming through reasonably clear and the sound's okay, we can only make apologies for the commentary. I hope you understand Northern English. It's not quite the same as Southern English. Please feel free to spread the web address with all your friends on Facebook. We want to try and get some big numbers over the next few days as we lead up into the final. And we hit the business end of the event. Just the 1-300 so far from Robert Thirlby from England. First time on the island. And promptly rolls a 300. We had 3 299s yesterday. And we're expecting more big scores today. Justin Shikluna was one of the players that had 299. And he started brightly this morning with a couple of 9 spares, turkey and a 9 spare. If you're just joining us, you're watching the 24th Malta Open live from the Eden Super Bowl in St George's Bay, Malta. And we can give you a few details about the tournament very shortly as well, past winners and that kind of thing. So it reads as a who's who of European bowlers. And didn't realise until Neil told us, that Neil Dent, the manager, that Jason Belmonte was over here in about 2004, before he got super famous. He actually finished 11th, and Paul Moore won it that year. But to run down some of the things that happened yesterday, Annie attacked the field, and we put in the report, wow, 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 is about the only thing we can say, as Swede Annie Thorell in the last squad of Thursday smashed the field with games of 248, 268, 288, 248, 248 and 207 for a massive 1555 with ladies bonus. And adding to an earlier block of 1399, she jumped straight into the overall lead. And a good block there from Mark Muscat from Malta in the final squad of yesterday with a 1468. Squad winners so far include Annie, Ramon Hilferink, Justin Shikluna, Kenneth Harper, who's on the lanes now, has also won a squad. All of those players have had an extra €50 thanks to QubicaAMF. If you want to see what you've missed so far, if you get off to Malta Open Championships Facebook page and also talktemping.net and Bowling Digital, you can find out what's gone on so far. Playing on Kegel Bourbon Street. It's not a hard condition, although some of the players do make it look hard, and a lot of other players make it look very easy. Pick's not too bad, Dom. Commentary is a bit dodgy, though. It's coming through clear, it's just you don't understand me. Hello, my name is Sean Bean. One merely does not commentate. I'd be very good on Vodafone adverts. Or was it O2? So as promised, we can give you a rundown of some of the past winners of the event. They include, on the men's side, Marco Maswinkle, Keith Hodge, Steve Kaeja, Stefan Ljungström won it 3 times from Sweden, Raymond Janssen, Bill Hoffman from the States has won it, Tore Torgersen from Norway, Martin Larsson from Sweden, Jerry Verbruggen from Belgium, Paul Moore from England, Chris Van Dam's won it 3 times, Stu Williams from England's won it, Don Barrett's won it, Marcus Burns won it a couple of times, Paul Stott Jr. and Patrick Meeker is the defending champion. The last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years I've just been a single winner, but from 2008 backwards there was female winners, and they included Melissa Abella, Ursula Gangboa, Ellie Anderson, Doris Camilleri, Linda Haglund, Faride Pascoe Blom, Sue Abella, Frida Svensson, Martina Beckel, Kirsten Penny, Camilla Kjelsen, Ibn Chu, Martina Beckel. Was it Martina Beckel? I said Martina, didn't I? Tanya Petty, Ghislaine van der Tol, Bianca Wickerad. So like I said, like a who's who of European players. A couple of frames away from the end of this first game. We will have scores for you after each game. We will send our scoring monkey, Neil Dent, the manager, to get the scores for us. But it looks like Matt Forsyth is flying with 163 in the 8th. although he just had a 9 miss. Ian Alexandra going well. 174 in the 8th, and he's just had a 6-3 open. Keep your comments and chat coming in. If you've been watching the tournament over the last few days, have you any predictions who you think's going to win? Who do you want to win? Have you been to Malta before? Have you not been to Malta? Do you want to come? As we said, it's the 24th this year, so the 25th makes it a rather special event. So we're kind of playing around with some ideas, and going to try and talk Neil into somehow inviting some of the past champions back. Maybe have a little Champion of Champions shootout during the tournament. But it would certainly be nice. Dom Barrett says he's going to come next year. Neil said the other day that Dom's already signed up for 2016. So hopefully we'll see Dom and his good lady wife, Cassie, who can also play. As I said earlier, big thank you out to QubicaAMF. Put money into the pot, which Talk Tempin passed over to the tournament. And it's gone down well with the players. 12 squads now all carry a €50 squad win prize. Thanks to Roger Creamer and Darren Lewis at QubicaAMF for arranging the deal. And we will be running Qubica adverts during the streams, and also the QubicaAMF virtual studio. Never thought I'd say that. Didn't think I'd be doing green screen. I feel like a Hollywood director. So just a frame away from the end of the game, and we'll have some scores for you. Let us know where you are in the world if you're on the chat. If your name is Ustreamer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or whatever, just let us know who you are so that we can kind of put a name to the numbers. Or just take 5 minutes out just to knock up a Ustream account. It's free. It takes a few minutes, and we'll know who you are then. Wait for the squad to finish this game. I can run through a couple of bits of news that came in overnight. And the PBA unveils a schedule and prize fund for the Geico World Series of Bowling 7. If you want any of those details, get yourself off to Talk Tempin and also Bowling Digital to find out what's going to be happening in the PBA World Series of Bowling this year. Also, Brunswick have named Dream Bowl Palace host of the Brunswick Euro Challenge through to 2018. It's been there for the last few years. in Europe's biggest and best state-of-the-art 52-lane facility in Germany. It's been there for the past 4 years and will continue through to 2018. If anybody's watching from Germany, I'd like to come out there and help one time. I'm cheap. All you've got to do is get me a few German sausages and a hotel room, a couple of drinks and a flight, and I'm there. Just waiting on a couple more lanes to finish up. I think we'll go for a short commercial break in a moment. And we're on Ustream, so if you're getting the adverts from Ustream and you want to get rid of them, it's AdBlock Plus, isn't it, Marco? Marco? AdBlock Plus. If you just Google AdBlock, AdBlock Plus, and just install it, it will take out all the adverts from Ustream, so you won't get those annoying Ustream adverts. You will get the annoying ones that we're giving you, but that's all part of the streaming deal we've got this week. And to be honest, the adverts that we're showing are actually quite good. You get to see the new QubicaAMF BestX scoring system with Facebook integration, and the only thing it doesn't make is a cup of tea. So we're just going to go for a short break, and we'll be back very shortly, so don't go away. And we're back in the Into game 2. Just waiting for the scores to come. They should be with us in a moment or two. So frame into game 2. And in front of us now, Gert Swaffs, Livia Habasat from Switzerland, Jamie Alder, Sarah Zareb from Malta. Thank you. Brett Armour, James Wigmore, Ian Alexander and Yanis Stafatos. And leading after the first game was Daniel Balsam from England with a 2:43, followed by Yanis Stafatos with a 2:37. From Greece, Justin Shikluna with a 2:26 in third, and Kenneth Harper in fourth with a 2:23. Bart van Kerkoven with a 2:22, and Mauro Anastasi with a 2:20. Bringing up the top 6. In 7th, Daniel Swift with 2:15, Ian Alexander with a 2:13. Raymond Tackle with a 2:08, and Matt Forsyth with a 200 made the top 10. And then further down it went. Gert Swaffs, Ben Harvey, James Wigmore, Dennis Machia, Bodhild, Jack Bett, Anina Gerler, Sarah Zareb, Brett Armour, Jamie Alder, Evripidis, Muriel Mora, Mike Gerler, and Olivia Habasat bringing up the rear. Oh no, Julius Emil Hopker bringing up the rear. So leading the tournament at the moment, if you've missed any of that, Annie Thorell from Sweden pulled a 15:55 last night. She went nuts. 29:54 overall. She'd had a 13:99 in a previous 6-game block. She says she's going to bowl at least one more block just to keep warm, ready for the finals, but I think she's safely in the top 8. And we'll get buys to the final round 3, I believe. But a few usual suspects at the top there. Kenneth Harper from Malta is a former national record holder and can play. Alexandra Larsson is kind of a new name on me, but anybody from Sweden is usually good. Rob Thirlby, of course, we all know Rob Thirlby, what he can do, former Brunswick Euro Challenge winner. Probably hasn't played as much on the European scene as you would have expected, but he worked at AMF for a lot of years as a technician, and then OBC, the original bowling company in the UK that took over a lot of AMF centres. And he's actually just left that, and he's going to be making mechanical parts for AMF on Brunswick machines. Says he's got a few inventions, and he's probably one of the most respected technicians in the UK. Comes from a line of technicians. His dad was a technician. And then further afield, Amanda Larkin, who only bowls storm balls, as she tells me. She was awesome. She's going out to Japan in a couple of weeks for the World Open out there. Getting some good practice in Malta. Dreamforce Marco out there in Germany. Do you dig your own fibre connection? I wish we could. How do you get more upload? I think the only way we could probably do it is to send the English boys around all the houses around here and get everybody to come off the internet so that we can have a faster connection. Yeah, to be honest, Mark, I'm not sure what the problem is this year, because last year was quite good. I don't think we didn't go to YouTube last year, but it did seem a little bit faster. But it is actually stable at the moment. We were breaking up last night. The last squad of the day was a bit of a loss early on. But anything that can be done on the technical side will be done. We've got some very clever guys here this week in Simon Sheppers, Marco Landman, and of course Flavio Cuva. And Flavio will be bringing us some of those awesome super slow-mo videos again. We ran through a few in one of the squads yesterday and actually did some live. As I mentioned before, we've got the green screen virtual studio this year. So we'll have a few players in the virtual studio, the QubicaAMF studio. So 3 frames in, and Yannis Stathatos from Greece opens up with front 3. Former ECC champion. Bowls for the Navigators, Team Navigators from Cyprus. If you haven't heard of the Navigators, you've maybe been on the moon. And there's a lot of the Navigators here this week. And they will be playing in the later squads. Young Sarah Zareb from Malta opens up with a split 2 and then a double. She's been touted as the new Suabella, Queen of the Mediterranean. And she gets another strike. I think she's only about 13. Already throwing a good shot. If she works hard over the next couple of years, we could be seeing her in a lot more European tournaments. I think she's like a lot of young players. And Annie Thorell, who's leading the tournament, she pretty much said as much in the interview. She would like to play more in Europe, but just can't afford it. It's not a cheap sport anymore when you think about it. 120, 150 entries on an EBT. 120 to 150 euro on an entry. And you've got to get there, and if you're flying from, say, England, and hotel, and you're probably in it for 600 euros before you even start, so the pressure's on. But as a lot of players have proved, if you're good enough, you're old enough, you don't necessarily need to have money at the time. Young Don Barrett and Stu Williams hit the floor running on the EBTs and started winning early on, and it basically funded the continuation of that pursuit, and look where they are now. The riches are there to be gained, and these guys have proved it's possible. Martin Larsson, of course, as well. Scoop Palermo. All over in the States, and giving the Americans a run for their money. So Gert Swafts, Belgium, opens up with a strike 7 spare Turkey. And if you want to keep your eye Just next to Brett Armour with a nice lovely pink shirt, we have Sarah Zareb, the youngster from Malta. Working at Turkey, so you can have a look at her now. Oh, Stone. Yanis Tathatos from Greece sums up with front four. And good old Sarah, she's actually wearing a London International shirt with London Pro Shop on it. Shout out for Matt Miller there, who runs the London Pro Shop. So halfway through this second game, Dan Bolson leading with a 243 after the first game, followed by Yanis Tathatos, who's now gone the front four and a 10-pin. Keep your comments and chat coming in, and if you just joined us, you're watching the 24th Malta Open live from the Eden Super Bowl in St George's Bay in the Mediterranean, which kind of sounds nice. It's very hot and sunny and everything outside, but I've not seen much of it. I'm in the bowling centre for 16 hours a day, but it's good fun. 20-lane Eden Bowl, been open since I think 1988 or something. Maybe somebody can correct me. But a tidy bowl, Eden. The Eden Group own a number of businesses and hotels. They own a cinema next door and across the road, and also radio stations and all sorts of things. Thanks to Eden for getting us out here this year and the last few years. Gert Swaffs from Belgium, strike 7 spare 4 bagger now, 9 and 10. Jay Alder smacks the pocket for a Turk. Oh, 4 bagger even. So the nerves and everything else just disappearing a little bit as some of the players find their feet. Feel free to spread the web address of the live score to as many people as you can. Live score, live stream to as many people as you can, please. Might be a little bit early in the day for some people. Should be on the way to work, but I'm sure we'll see a lot of people that should be working watching the stream today. Thank you for that. As we watch Sarah Zareb now trying to get back on strike. A little bit wide. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, on closer inspection of Sarah, it kind of looks like a lazy release and like a pancake shot where it doesn't look like she's got a lot of fingers in it, but she is. Fair rags it into the pocket for a youngster. Matt Forsyth going well from England. Strike 9 spare 5 in a row, down on 7 and 8. Won some medals in Deaf Championships a few weeks ago. Who else is doing well? Jamie Alder still strike, a couple of 9 spares and then a 4-bagger. Gert Swaff's had an open after 4 in a row. Shwireb. Neil says. Zara, I'm calling her Zureb. It's pronounced Shwireb. Shwireb. Can't I just call her Sarah X? Is that not a cooler name? Sarah X. Frame 7 and frame 8. Jamie Alder on 179 in the 8th with a double working. Matt Forsyth's had another one for 6 in a row on a 280 pace. How do you get Shwireb from X-U-E-R Reb? I would have thought an X and a U kind of gives you zoo, and zur, yeah, then Reb. I can't see how you get Shwireb. Strange. English not really my first language. Keep your eye on Jamie Alder, working 5 in a row and on a big game in the blue there. Looking a little bit further down, doesn't seem to be too many big scores going in. Daniel Swift's going okay, 146 in the 7th with a spare working. X in Maltese is says Neil. I've got to remember now then, Shwireb. Say that with a mouthful of peanuts. So Jay Alder looking for an, drops it a little bit, but he's dropped it into the pocket and left a 10 pin. Keep your comments and chat coming in. And thanks to everybody that's joined us so far on the live stream, either just watching or sending us messages. Hi to Sylvian, to Sandro, to Marco, to Denti, to Liliana, Jeff Platten, James Banham, Dari Locomoto and Bassi 40, among others. frame or two away from the end of the second game. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with the live scores. But we're not going away just yet. And a reminder as well, that if you are being annoyed by the Ustream adverts, if you just install a program called AdBlock Plus, ADBLOCK, AdBlock Plus, that will take out all the adverts from Ustream. But you will get the QubicaAMF adverts, they're the ones that we're streaming. Give a shout out to Razor Briffer that just sent a message saying, hey, hi, watching the live streaming. Hi, Razor. Neil Dent says, Dom, you have troubles pronouncing Smith? Ah, Smith. So we'll let you off with Malteser spelling. And Dave Banham says, Dom, been visiting Malta for many years. The people of Malta are beautiful, but the language is impossible. I still only know how to pronounce about 4 words. Well, I've been speaking English for 45 years now and I still struggle with it, as you well may have noticed. So Matt Forsyth finishes with a 278. Getting Matty. That's going to razz him up near the top. He had 200 first game, 278 there. Gert Swaffs is going to finish with about a 220 or 216. Evripidis from Cyprus with a 180. Justin Shikluna. Going to finish with about a 209. Yanis Tathatos from Greece. He's going to finish with a possible 236 if he taps out. Ah, Mrs. Briffer is not Razor. It's Raiza. Look, I'm Dom Gall, but people call me Dom Gal, so they're going to have to live with me getting it wrong. It's all part of the fun and games. I do apologise if I get people's names wrong, but it's kind of not easy. Certainly some of the Romanians and Greeks and all that kind of... Denty on the chat says, yeah, David, I can't understand the word the Maltese say after 25 years. And he speaks a bit of the language. Well, he speaks the language fluently. It is kind of a mix of a lot of different languages, though, isn't it, Maltese? So, moments away from the end of this game, and we'll take a short break and go off to a QubicaAMF advert. And then we'll be back for game 3 and we'll have some scores for you as well. If you're just joining us, you're watching the 24th Malta Open live from Eden Super Bowl in St George's Bay on the beautiful island of Malta. If you want to know a little bit about Malta, if you go to talktemping.net and follow the links to the Malta Open post, you'll see some reports that I did 2 or 3 years ago. The first couple of years I came, the MTA, the Malta Tourist Authority, or whatever they're called, they would send me out to all the sites. And I'll be honest, I was a bit bored at first, thinking, oh no, I don't want to do this. But it was actually really interesting. Got to see some really cool things, the Co Cathedral, and they've got some big guns that used to defend the island. Went down and saw those. What else did I go? I saw the Malta Experience, which was a film about how a few aeroplanes kept the Germans at bay during the war. Also, I've seen the old ruins in Gozo that predate Stonehenge. Monolithic ruins, or Neolithic. I'm not sure which is monolithic and Neolithic, which is the older. So that's just about the end of that game. Yanis Tathatos, if he gets a double, is going to finish with a 236. Malta also becoming famous for Hollywood films as well. There's been quite a few Hollywood films filmed over here in the last few years. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie and the family were all out here a couple of years ago to film World War Z. And they actually came into the bowling centre. Angelina brought the kids in, and Neil was not allowed to get photos or anything, and he wasn't even allowed to tell anybody she was here until afterwards. But yeah, John Bon Jovi, I believe, has been in the centre before. So Yanis Tathatos does get a strike, and one more for that 236. Again, wearing purple there. Looking very Wimbledon, purple and green. Yeah, and he gets it. So we're going to go for a short break. We'll be back very shortly. Don't go away. welcome back to the 24th Malta Open from the Eden Super Bowl. Game 2 finished, on to Game 3. Scores on the doors. In first place, Matt Forsyth. After that 278, jumps right to the top. Where did he jump from? He jumped from 10th to 1st with that 278. 478, 239 average. Yanis Dathatos in second, 237, 236, 473. In third place, Kenneth Harper with a 223, 233, 456. In fourth place, Daniel Swift from Malta with 450. In fifth, Daniel Balsam with 443. Justin Cicluna from Malta with 435 in sixth. In seventh, Ian Alexandra with 428. In eighth place, Bart van Kerkhoven with 424. Gert Swaffs with 415, tied with Mauro Anastasi. That makes up your top 10. And then Ben Harvey, the only other player over the 200 average at this point, 414. And Sarah Shrireb with 391 in 407, including ladies bonus. Then comes Jamie Alder, Dennis, is it Machia? Raymond Tackle, James Wigmore, Bodhild Jadvet, Brett Armour, Evripidis, not even going to try his second name. Lampus, we've got him down as. Anina Gerler, Mika Gerler, Muriel Mora, and Olivia Habasat bringing up the rear. So into game 3 of 6 in this first squad of 4 squads today. Back at 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock Central European time, which is 1 hour ahead of the UK and 1 hour behind Cyprus. And we're at the top of the house there now. You can see in the red shirt the current leader wearing a London Pro Shop shirt, and that man is Matt Forsyth. A lot of that's just Cicluna in the blue, just picking up a 10 pin. And a few of the other blue shirts there are the Swiss national juniors. Been brought over by coach Rick Vogelsang, who coaches many Maltese players. He's also the international coach now for Switzerland. Used to work at the Kegel Centre. And has been fairly instrumental in some of the Maltese players out here. And they have a couple of coaches, the other coach being Marco Spiteri, who coaches a lot of the other juniors and players. But for a small island, Malta's got quite a lot of talent. There's the only one bowling centre on the island, and they can play. I've not had a Maltese winner for a few years, but it's coming. Kenneth Harper's certainly giving it a go this year. Mauro Anastasi's not been as good as he usually is, but he puts a little bit of pressure on himself. He kind of wants to make the top 8 and make the final stages. But as long as you make the cut, that's the main thing. Sunday is a long day. It's okay, well, getting a couple of buys into the later rounds, but you see it many times where players come in cold, and the players that have been on the previous squads have warmed up, and you can easily go out of a tournament having bowled 1550 or more. But a fantastic tournament in Malta. It's very competitive but laid back at the same time, and for any players that visions or aspirations of going out and bowling on EBTs and stuff, you should probably come to Malta first and just get some international experience and then go off to the EBTs. It's a good idea, not least for the fact that you can go and then you can go have a little bit of a holiday. Go see the sights around Malta, enjoy the social life, the bars. There's a beach literally 3-minute walk from where we are now. Crystal clear waters, golden sands. What more do you want? Bowling, booze, and beach. Thanks again to everyone that's on the chat. Matt Muscat has joined us and Paul Mika. Sandro Ancanini. Oh, Wilco's a new one. Wilco Schoenveld. Jeff Platten, Bassi, Dave Banham, Liliana. Thanks for all joining us on the chat. And all the you streamers with big long numbers at the end of it. And also you guys watching at home that have not logged in to the chat. Raisa Riffa, and more. So just coming up to the halfway point of this third game. Looks like Big Elco's in the house. You playing the next squad, Elco? Probably, he says. Daniel Bolton's started off quite brightly in this game. Front three, 6 spare strike. And good morning to Liliana, who comes on the channel. So, good morning. Buenos dias, everybody. Actually, got some South Americans. Got a Costa Rican here this week, Alejandro Reyna, and a Mexican, Carlos Lee. They came last year and they're here again. They're playing a swing of a few events. They're going to play Malta, then go off to Poland, and then they're going off to the Madrid Challenge, Brunswick Madrid Challenge. Yanis Dathatos from Greece opens up with a spare and 4-bagger, 7 spare, 4 in a row. Looks like, is it Ben Harvey? 9 spare, 4 in a row. Liliana says, I've been up since 6 and following from the beginning. Funny enough, I was up at 6 o'clock as well. I forgot my phone, left it in the bowl, and then I got back to the hotel and thought, oh, hang on a minute, how am I going to wake up in the morning? I managed to wake up at about 6:15 and I just had a shower, kind of did some work, and I'll be feeling it later, I think. A long day today. I think it was back at 12 before we were out last night. So we'll go over to the other side of the house. Let us know who you want to know the scores for. If you've got any particular favourites, who do you think's going to win? Who do you want to win? As we watch Sarah Schwireb rips the rack again. for a double. Strike 8 spades, miss. Strike 9 spade, double. You just joined us, you're watching the 24th Malta Open. My name's Dom Gall from TalkTemping.net. And if you want any results and reports and stuff, get over to TalkTemping.net on our Facebook page. And also with our partners this week, Bowling Digital. A big thank you again to Herbert Bickle from Bowling Digital. And we've also got the other two Bowling Digital guys, Flavio Cuva doing super slow-mo videos, and Biet Grauweiler from Switzerland, who does the photographs for Bowling Digital. He's here this week. And of course our streaming partners, QubicaAMF and Dutch Bowling TV. Marco Landman and Simon Shepherd. But such a great event is Malta. It made sense to team up with the Bowling Digital and Dutch Bowling TV guys, and quite appropriate really. That we're with QubicaAMF this week because their tagline is the power of partnership, and it's true what they say. If you can bring a few people together, you can do something pretty cool. I'm just here because I'm talking for 12 hours. I'm running out of things to say, but I'm trying. So Ben Harvey adds another one for 5 in a row, and he's up on the approach now. Just going to come into the right hand side of your screen possibly. And there you go. Drills the pocket again for another one. Another English player I don't know too much about. Wilco Schoenveld says, why always the commercials between it? Depends which commercials you mean. If it's the commercials from Ustream, if you install AdBlock Plus, I'll put the... So if you install AdBlock Plus, it will remove the Ustream adverts. But we're streaming adverts between games, so when the players are moving from lane to lane, we're putting through the sponsor adverts, QubicaAMF this week. We won't be removing those, but you can remove the adverts from Ustream just by installing AdBlock Plus. David Bannum says, young Brett seems to be struggling a bit, Dom. I think he may be making a shot a little too complicated. Yeah, you could be right, David. Although, you know, when he gets it right, it's right. A good shot there. Front 10. Forsyth. Matt Forsyth. Oh, Matt Forsyth's gone front 10 apparently. So I think we better spin over onto the other camera. So front 10, yep. Looking for number 11 in the red shirt there, Matt Forsyth from England. Ah, there you go. Stick the camera on him, jinx. Big split. Sorry, Matt. That's why I don't really like putting the camera on a player that's got the front 10. I like to get to 11, and then if they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. We can't be blamed for it. But it seems every time we go around about 9 or 10 strikes, it seems to jinx the players. But the squad leader, after 200 and 278, is had another big game there. Come back over to the other side. Don't know if you've seen the virtual studio yet, but there it is. Stick my hand in so that you can see it. Hello. We'll try and get some. You're right. We'll try and get some people in on the virtual studio at some point. But Matt Forsyth, as I said, 200, 278, and 280, whatever there, or 270 odd. No Dutch players in this squad, I don't think. We've got Swiss, Maltese, Greek, Belgium, Norway, Cyprus are your countries in this squad. I believe Big Elko from the Netherlands is going to be in the next squad. And I think Ramon said he was playing today in the middle of the day. Ramon Hilfrich, Patrick Mika. If you haven't done so already, if you please send the link to as many of your friends as possible for the live stream that you think would be interested in watching some bowling. Also like our pages on the Malta Open Championships and Talk 10 Pin. And while you're at it, just go around liking a few things. Like World Bowling, that's one thing I want you to do this week. If you've not already liked the World Bowling Facebook page, please do it. Because they're still on about 3,500 hits and likes. And, I don't know, for the World Association, that should be a few 100,000 really. The amount of bowlers that there are in the world. You've got to support World Bowling, and then World Bowling can support you as they try to get the sport into the Olympics in 2020 in Japan or in Tokyo. Kevin Dornberger doing a fantastic job at the moment, just raising the profile of the sport. World Bowling moved to Switzerland to be close to all the international sports. And the last year to 18 months have seen a lot of progress. We get into that age-old argument of is bowling a sport and should it be the Olympics and everything. I kind of think it should. Wilco Schoenveld says, are you a bowler? Not anymore. I used to bowl. I bowled for England when I was younger in the junior and the young adult division. Kind of retired from competitive play around about 24, 25. Bought a house. Life got in the way a little bit. I was always stuck around the sport, and I've worked in bowling centres as a technician, so I would test the lanes and continue to bowl a little bit. And, a couple of years ago, Bowling Vision Brunswick gave me some equipment, some DV8 equipment. I came out of retirement for a couple of events. I suffer from a bad back. I think I'm just getting old. And I worry now that if I bowl too many games, I'm not going to be able to walk properly in the future. Kind of leave it to these other guys now. I get more enjoyment out of reporting on the sport than actually playing it. I'm not from Holland, I'm from England, as you may well have guessed. Wilco says he's from Deventer. He's starting a bowler. And his record is 210. That's okay. Is anybody else having any problems with the Ustream stopping? Is stopping as in adverts, Liliana? Or stopping as in a problem with the connection? Northern Monkey, that's correct. Who's that then? 10601. Do I know you? As I've said a few times, my name's Sean Bean. I do adverts for O2. Yeah, 210 for a starting bowler's not too bad. I think I was... When did I have my first 200? I think I must have been about 13, I think. I always remember my first game in Leeds, and my mum and dad took me bowling, and I think I shot 11, and my dad's giving it, oh, I knew it would be a waste of money. And I started crying, I was all upset, and my mum kind of felt sorry for me. She took me to the junior league in Leeds, and I'm still sat here 30 odd years later. But yeah, it's a cool sport. It's one of them things you get a very good social life out of it. You make good friends for life. It's competitive. It's honest most of the time. So right, they're just about finished there. We're going to shoot off and have another short break. We'll be back in a few moments, so don't go away. And we're back again. And we've got some scores after 3 games for you. Matt Forsyth still leading with 750 now, 250 average over 3 games. Games of 200, 278 and 272. Yanis Stathatos from Greece with games of 237, 236, 240. Very consistent there from Yanis. 713, 237 average. In 3rd place, Daniel Swift, left-hander, 215, 235, 257, 707. 235 average. And Ben Harvey from England with 198, 216 and a 289, 703. 234 average. And in 5th place, Daniel Balsam with 675, just a pin ahead of Mauro Anastasi with 674. Kenneth Harper in 7th with 660. Bart van Kerkoven with 658. Justin Scicluna in 9th with 642. And bringing up the top 10 at the moment, Gert Swafts with 641. Just having a look at some of the comments that have come in on the chat, talking about Wilco saying he's got a fingertip ball, but he's having trouble making it curve when playing it. And one of the Ustreamers says, make sure your thumb is loose when you release your ball. It's hard to explain how to hook it or how to curve it. A little tip, Wilco, is if you kind of kneel down and you actually can practice it with a tennis ball. If you get the tennis ball and you kind of try and turn the tennis ball as if to put revs on it and to make it twist and bend, if you then put as many revs and as much action on the ball as you can so that you get the ball to spin. It's kind of the same technique with the bigger ball, but if you kneel down and let your thumb come out and then lift from the bottom of the ball up and kind of round the bottom, not over the top of it, just kind of the bottom half with a slight twist, and slow the ball down. If you bowl slow enough, you will get it to hook, and then it's just a case of building up the technique to get it faster. And did I explain that well? I don't think I explained that well, did I? I'm not a coach. It's kind of one of them things, is hook bowling. You bowl straight for a long time, and then you get a fingertip ball, and the first thing you do is probably drop it and hurt your fingers. But then after a while, the technique kind of just comes, and then practice more than anything. As long as you're enjoying it, it doesn't matter whether you're a hook bowler, a backup bowler, a straight bowler. But get yourself on the internet. There's lots of tips and advice on YouTube and on the web. But I always find the tennis ball one's a good one, because you can get your hand all the way around a tennis ball, so if you can spin that, then it's almost the same sort of technique, but a bigger ball and with your fingers in. But a good fitting ball, and don't grip it with your thumb. Another thing I kind of did when I was younger is when you're putting your fingers in the finger holes on a fingertip ball, you can kind of put a bit of pressure on your fingers to grip it with just your fingers and let your thumb be loose. Wilco says, what do you think about making bowling an Olympic sport? I think it's a good idea. Everybody thinks it's a good idea. It's the second most participated sport in the world. There is arguments that it's not a fair sport in some ways. That you can throw a perfect ball and not get a strike, or you can throw a rubbish ball and get a strike. There's arguments there that how can it be a sport if you can miss your arrow, where you're aiming, if you can miss your aim and still strike. But I think that's all rubbish. Anything that is competitive is a sport. and then it comes down to money, I think. I'm a kind of firm believer if we get Nike or Adidas to make bowling shoes, we've got a shot at the Olympics. You put a tick on a bowling ball or a pair of shoes, or 3 stripes on a bowling ball and a pair of shoes, you've suddenly got backing of the big boys. And I believe Adidas used to make bowling shoes a long time ago. I don't think it would be difficult for, say, Storm or Dexter to do a deal with one of those big companies for a range of shoes, just to kind of test the water. You know for a fact every kid in the country is going to want a pair of Nike bowling shoes. But it looks like we've got the best chance in over 50 years to get in the Olympics this year, in 2020. A lot of work has been done to try and get the sport in. There were a list of sports released a few weeks ago that have all applied for Olympic status in 2020. As Japan are the hosts in 2020, they've got an option to introduce a couple of sports. So I believe the Japanese Federation and Japanese bowlers have got 1 million signatures in a petition that's been handed to the IOC. And if you check out a guy called Jason Belmonte, Wilco, he's started a petition for bowlers to sign to try and get bowling into the Olympics. Just working on the assumption that the more names you get, the better. We kind of need to prove to the IOC that of the millions of people that bowl, we are all united and we're all behind the cause. Wilco there on the chat saying it happens a lot to him, he bowls it a bit fast, and his biggest problem is he throws it hard, over 27 kilometres an hour. Yeah, to hook it you're going to need to slow down, I think, to start with. And a lot of these bowlers bowl quite fast. Do you have any local pros in your centre, Wilco? Is there any... Oh, you've signed the petition already, Wilco? Good boy. Oh, good girl. Were we talking male or female, Wilco? If you're bowling that fast, you're probably male. But yeah, if there's any good bowlers in your local centre, just have a word with them. Get yourself a little bit of coaching. It'd be good for you. Back again. So anyone that's just joined us, you're watching the 24th Malta Open live from the Eden Super Bowl on the beautiful island of Malta, into game 4 and about halfway, just beyond the halfway point. The current leader with a 750 is Matt Forsyth from England. Games of 200, 278 and 272. Been having a little chat about first-time bowlers and how to hook it and all the rest of it. Maybe you guys out there can give some advice to Wilco on the best way he can try to improve. He says he bowls a little bit too fast. and is struggling to master the hooking technique. Another thing you can try actually, Wilco, is when you hold the ball, if you've got your hand under the ball, turn it so that your hand is on the side, and keep your hand on the side all the way through the release, and then lift up with your fingers. You may well get a small amount of hook on it. It's a good way to start, and then you move your hand back under the ball. But basically it's kind of just trying to twist a little bit, but not over the top of the ball. Another question, Wilco, what ball do you bowl with? What is the name of your ball? Obviously, if you're bowling with a polyester ball, which is kind of a harder ball than the other ones on the market, they are a little bit more difficult to hook. But you can get balls that, they call them a hook in a box. They do bend quite easy once you get the right technique. They would be called softer balls, or reactive they call them, or is it particle balls and all sorts now. There was also, back in my day, we didn't have all these new high scoring balls. We had one called a urethane ball, which gripped the lane more than the polyester ball. It's kind of one of the reasons why I stopped bowling back in the late 90s, was the introduction of reactive bowling balls. I was kind of a cranker, they call them, somebody that got a lot of revs and a lot of hook, and that was with the urethane ball. And then the reactive balls came in, and I was hooking it too much. Instead of it being a nice smooth arc like it could be with a urethane, it became a right angle, a very vicious hook. Probably too much. But at the same time, players that didn't hook it a lot started bowling with reactive, and all of a sudden they were scoring a lot more. A strike, but you don't know what the name of the ball is then. It kind of depends if you've got a polyester, urethane, or reactive. You're in the market really for a reactive ball, possibly an entry-level one. You guys out there could probably give some advice on a good entry-level reactive ball. A nice cheap one. Obviously, don't try and get too technical with Wilco. He's still a new bowler. But if we can help, we will. So just coming up to the end of the fourth game. The main thing is, Wilco, just ask people. Bowlers are friendly. They will help you. Not all of them, some people are not nice people anyway, but most bowlers, if you ask for help, they will give you help. Don't be frightened to speak to other bowlers. That's the message we're probably giving there. We're kind of a tight-knit community. There's lots of different countries here, and pretty much most of them are friends. They know each other. They've seen each other in other tournaments. They've had a drink together or a meal and that kind of thing. It's not all about what happens on the lanes. That's a good competitive and social sport. Mauro Anastasi finishes with a 221. Giving him 895 for his 4. Brett Armour finishes with 163 there, giving him 727. Bart van Kerkoven going well. Couple of 9 spare strike, 9 spare 4-bagger. Daniel Balsam having a bit of a mare now. 7-1, 7-1, 7-1, all splits. 8 spare, 9 miss. Strike 7-2, 9 spare strike. It looks like the chemical formula for Coca-Cola. James Wigmore with a 205, giving him 776. Kenneth Harper looks to be going well. 3 9 spares, a 7 spare, and then a 5 bagger. 5 strikes in a row. But yeah, the question is for Wilco. Can you guys out there recommend a good entry-level reactive ball that Wilco could source, have a look at? A nice cheap one. Another thing, Wilco, is a lot of other bowlers will have second-hand equipment that they don't bowl with anymore, and sometimes it can be cheaper just to get the finger holes plugged up and re-drilled again. Or you might be lucky enough to have somebody with the same size hand as you. It's always better never to bowl with somebody else's grip. You should always get your own grip that's tailored for your hand. Otherwise you could end up with injuries later on. But all good pro shops will generally look after you. They want the repeat business, so they're not in the business to sell you the most expensive ball. They want you to come back later, so I'm saying that there's maybe a couple of pro shops that'll sell you a good ball for the sake of it, but most pro shops I know will never sell you a top of the range ball, not straight away, unless you insist on it. It's been known that players like the colour of a ball, so they just buy it regardless of the price. They like the look of it. Yeah, but your first ball or your first couple of balls are quite special. Trying to remember what my first ball was. I think it was a polyester ball called a Rainbow, which is like lots of different colours. I'm going to take that bet. I've just had a bet there. Jamie Wigmore came up and says, I'm going to predict the winner. He says, Matt Forsyth. He says, I'll bet you €10. I'll take that bet. Because he's going to have to go past Ramon Hilfering first and a lot of other players, so my odds are good at the minute. And I think my first serious ball was called an Ebonite Firebolt. Does anybody remember the Ebonite Firebolt? It was a urethane ball. They had a range of the Firebolt 1, the Firebolt 2, and then they had a Firebolt SO green, and a Firebolt Short Oil. The Short Oil was probably the better one that I enjoyed playing with. I'm showing my age now with some of the names of those bowling balls there. I think I had a Cuda C, an Ultimate Weapon, Gyro 1, a U2, what else? Pink Hammer. Used to love my Rinky Pink Hammer. Blue Hammer. Gold Angle. I had a Gold Angle at one point, made by AMF. Ustreamer there says, my first ball was a Columbia White Dot, conventionally drilled. I think a lot of bowlers back in the day started with a white dot, or a cheaper version of it. A few had a yellow dot or a blue dot. Craigie Farr says, the first reactive I had was an Ebonite Powerball. That was one of the cheaper range, wasn't it, on the Ebonite? It was like an introduction ball. Gyro 1 I remember being a popular ball when I was a kid, like an orangey colour. Bright orangey reddy colour. streamer. What age did you start bowling? Mine is I was 10 back in 1982. I was 11 in 1981. That's when I started, just a year before that. But I kind of didn't really get serious until like 83, 84. And by about 86, I'd got good enough to make it to the England junior team. We went out to the Netherlands for a 3-country championships. If I remember right there, I think I had a 168, 170 something, and then I had a 190, and then my last game was about 235, which I was quite proud of at the time. My first international trip. Wilka says I'm now 38, yeah, 45. Hey, you're never too old to get into the sport. 34, quite old to get into the sport, but doesn't mean you can't master it. There's a lot of seniors up until the 60s and 70s bowling really well now, and that's the beauty of the sport. It's inclusive for all ages. Right, so we're just going to take a short break while we wait for the players to move around, because you can see there they're just about to finish up the top end there. So we'll show you an advert for an upcoming Bowling Promotion Cup in conjunction with QubicaAMF run in France. It's over 4 tournaments, and you can see that on Eurosport, I think, or Sky Sports or something like that. But we'll show you this video and we'll be back very shortly. That's the Bowling Promotion Cup upcoming in October. 4 tournaments, and they will be on TV. Yeah, one of you streamers there saying, I remember bowlers in my league, they would put the ball in the oven to get the oil out of it. He says he never believed that and never tried it. And I don't think you should. I don't think there's never a good time to put a bowling ball in an oven. Sometimes you could leave it in the back of your car, on a summer night, and it would sweat, and the oil would come out the ball. There's plenty of products on the market though for cleaning your bowling ball, and there's a lot of other technical ones. There's like a, what would you call it, like a washing machine thing. You stick it in and it brings the oil out of the ball. Put it in some kind of solution water thing. Right, we've got the scores after game 4. Matt Forsyth, unsurprisingly, still leading, 996, 249 average. Daniel Swift now in second with 942 from Malta. In third place, Yanis Stathatos with 933. Bart van Kerkoven with 917 in fourth. Mauro Anastasi with 895 in fifth. Kenneth Harper in sixth with 892. And in seventh with 889 is Justin Shikluna. Ben Harvey in eighth with 876. And Jamie Alder with 867 in ninth. And bringing up 10th, Dan Balsam with 8.35, 208 average for the top 10 at the moment. So we're now in the game 5 of 6. First squad of the day, another 3 squads to go today. We'll be back at 1 PM and then 5 PM and 9 PM, all Central European time. That's an hour ahead in England or an hour behind in Cyprus. Going further down the list, actually. Good morning, Flavio. Bowling Digital's Flavio Cuva's here, so it looks like we're going to get some super slow-mo in the next squad. So come back for that one. Actually, Wilco, I don't know if you're busy today or anything. If you want to come back at the next squad after 1 PM, we've got the guy from a website called Bowling Digital called Flavio Cuva. He has a super slow-mo camera, really expensive camera, and he will be filming the bowlers in, obviously, super slow motion. So you can actually see how a lot of these players release the bowling ball, what they do with their hand. So that's going to be an excellent educational tool for you. If you're unable to watch it, all these live streams are going to be uploaded so that you can watch them afterwards, and I think a video will go up on YouTube of a lot of players in slow-mo. But maybe if you, if I have a look now, if you type in super slow-mo bowling, see what that brings up. Yeah. Type in super slow-mo bowling, and the videos that it brings you, it'll bring you a full high-definition super slow-mo video from BEC, the Brunswick Euro Challenge, and there's a few videos under there. Watch one of those, and that will give you a rough idea of how to hook the ball and what other players do to put revs on the bowling ball. So just type in super slow mo, SLOMO, super slow mo bowling, and watch one of those videos. When you've seen those, you will see what we're going to be doing this week. Flavio's in now, so we'll have those in the next squad. Wilco says, watching it now, thanks guys. Ah, you're welcome. We'll do anything we can to help new bowlers. Kenneth Harper from Malta opens up with the front 3 in game 5. Play the next squad. Don't play the next squad. Dan Balsam a little bit better. Had 160 last game, and he's come back strong in this one with a double 8 spare strike. Bart van Kerkhoven Opens up with a spare double. The squad leader, Matt Forsyth, is down on 13 and 14 and has started with 3 spares. 8 spare, 9 spare, 8 spare. Ustreamer says, I'm off to work now. Nice chatting to you all. Maybe see you next time. Yeah, thanks for watching. Anybody that is disappearing. I know you guys drop in and drop out all day. But thanks for watching and hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. And come back later. I'm sure we'll have some awesome bowling still going on. We're here all day. Well, all day and all night. Up until about 12 tonight. Kenneth Harper makes it first 4. I'm not even going to say that word people call it. It's a 4-bagger, it's nothing else. Handball, whatever that is. You can speak in Dutch on the chat if you want. We've always got Dutchies watching. We'll have probably some Dutch commentary at some point. Marco Landman is in the house. He's going to be playing in the next squad. Big Elko Gorta also playing. I think we're expecting Ramon Hilferink and Patrick Mika, but I'm not too sure. They're not in yet. Looks like the Greeks and the Cypriots are in. Tommy Peterson, Vagelis Krisnis, Loisa Stavru, Haris Panayotou. Andreas Christoforou. Good to see you, man. Yeah, we'll have a chat. So in the orange shirt there is Kenneth Harper from Malta, working the first 4 in a row, looking for number 5. Doesn't quite get it. Oh, you know Marco Landman? Yeah, speak to Marco. Marco will help you. Marco can give you some good advice on a particular bowling ball to own. He will probably know somebody that's got one. The main thing is, Wilco, just enjoy it. It's a cool sport. Bart van Kerkoven, 9 spare 4-bagger now. Down on 7 and 8. And we're just beyond the halfway point of game 5, with one more game to come after this. Anyone that's just joined us, you're watching the 2015 23rd Malta Open, 24th Malta Open rather, live from the Eden Super Bowl, 20-lane Eden Super Bowl in St George's Bay in Malta. We're in Friday's qualifying now with Saturday to come, and then Sunday will be the finals. And by the end of Sunday we're going to have another champion. Who will it be? We don't yet know. Dan Balsam there with a decent strike. Wilco says he hopes Marco bowls well. I think Marco hopes Marco bowls well. He's very focused on the lanes, is Marco. Marco does the live streaming as well. Very knowledgeable of the sport. And he's made the later rounds in this tournament a few times. Bowled a 300 game a week or so ago in Holland. Kenneth Harper on a 279 pace now, first 4, 9 spare strike. Current leader in this squad after the first 4 games is Matt Forsyth from England. Bowls out of the Airport Bowl and part of the London Pro Shop team. He's bowled games of 200, 278, 272 and 246 so far. And has been tipped by 1 or 2 to win the tournament now off the back of 4 games. I've got a €10 bet on it now as well. Oh, he might lose that bet though. He's flying at the minute, is Matt Forsyth. As I said earlier, he's got to go past a number of fantastic players. There's a lot of experience here this week, European and South American players. A long way to go yet though. You've got to get through qualifying, then you've got to get through the final stages. But judging on the way Matt Forsyth has started, he's got a shot. Whether he can keep that shot throughout qualifying and the finals. So about 3 frames to go till the end of this game. And a reminder again, if you're frustrated by the amount of Ustream adverts, just install a program called AdBlock Plus, and that will take out all the Ustream adverts. You won't take out the QubicaAMF adverts though, because we're streaming them. As part of our fantastic partnership with QubicaAMF this week, we kindly put money into the tournament. We passed over from Talk Temping to the players, so they get €50 for a squad win in each of the 12 squads. So thanks again to QubicaAMF. And as they say on their tagline, the power of partnership certainly works. Mario Anastasi throws a massive shot there. Good strike, 247, 147 in the 8th with a strike working. Bart van Kekoven with 149 in the 8th. In the, is that the 8th? 159 in the 7th, sorry, with a strike on the board. Keep your comments and chat coming in. It makes the stream a lot better when we've got some interaction with you guys, otherwise it's just me talking and nobody wants that all the time. But at least if you're having your say, I can give you a shout out, help where we can, have a bit of fun. I don't know about you guys, but watching bowling for 3 hours can be a little bit boring unless something else is going on. So it's nice to have a little chat with you all. So far in this stream we've touched on the Olympic question and mentioned all our first bowling balls that we owned. Maybe a question now, what was the first tournament you entered? Or what was the first league you joined? Where do you play? Which is your favourite centre? All good questions. No, you're doing okay there. This is Daniel Swift from Malta just telling me there's no room for error today. It's all quite tight. Daniel bowling okay up until this point. He's on 158 in the 8th with a double working. Wearing a white motive shirt, get motivated on the back. Switzerland 300, and what do you think the cut's going to be for the top 28? Keep being asked that question and I really don't know the answer. The cut for 28 at the moment is, it's only 162 average at the moment. It's going to fly up from there to 28. I think if I had to guess, it'll be something over 220. How much over, I'm not sure. But there is a chance for players to make it through to the final rounds if they don't make it in qualifying. There is a Desperado, which is, I think they pay €50, and it's one game, and the top 4 over the one game will make it into the final step 1. There's also something called a turbo as well, where you can pay a little bit of extra money, and if you hit a big game on a turbo game, you can get through that way. I don't really like to do too many predictions. I think the only prediction is that the Dutchman Ramon Hilferink is going to be close to the final. Craigie Farce's first league was the Streatham YBC before it moved. Not Streatham, now you're going back. Moved to the once unstoppable Rains Park YBC. First tournament was south of England when it was at Tottenham. And picked up a singles and bronze in the all events. I can't remember. I think nationals were my first. Junior nationals in Stevenage were my first tournament. Back in 85 or something like that, 1985. That big guy. Ustreamer says, happy birthday to Storm's Bill Chrisman today. Yeah, happy birthday, Bill. What a story it's been for Storm, really, over the years. I think the ball started to appear in the late 90s. And it'd be fair to say that Ebonite and Columbia and AMF and Brunswick, they were kind of the big boys. And then this little upstart turned around called a Storm Ball, and now the biggest bowling ball manufacturer in the world by a street mile, probably. I'm not sure of the numbers for bowling balls and who sells what, but I'm almost certain Storm probably sell double what everybody else sells. Rightly so. They make good products. People would not buy a product if it doesn't score. Hence why some other companies are struggling. But it's nice to have a diverse amount of bowling balls out there on the market. Maybe too many. Back in the old days, you maybe got like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 releases a year from all the brands. Nowadays, you're probably getting 12 releases every quarter or more. See that big split there from Justin Scicluna, picked it up. Tell you what I'd like to see though, with the PBA Tour and EBT and all the rest of them, I'd like to see a ball list. I'd like to see what actually wins every tournament, and then at the end of the year you can kind of have a ball of the year, can't you? If that were the ball that won the most tournaments, it'd be nice to know which ball does win a lot. I know the ball kind of can fit the player. Just because a ball's good doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for every single player. But these companies do make balls that cover all bases. There's something in the arsenal for everybody. I actually invented a bowling ball last year when I was doing a little report on future bowling. I kind of think it's about time a little chip got put in the bowling ball, and then you could work out the revs and all the rest of it from your iPhone, like a tracer dot somewhere in the ball with sending you information to your mobile device. Chip the ball. I don't know if it would work, but I'm not an inventor. I'm just coming up with an idea. Somebody else would have to stick a chip in a ball and see what happens. But there is a remote control bowling ball out there, if you didn't know. If you type in remote control bowling ball, you'll see it. I think it was made by 900 Global. It actually featured on a program in the UK where they had England's Hayley White playing against a remote control bowling ball. She beat it, luckily. So, just coming up to the end of game 5. Just waiting for one or two of the lanes to finish. So we'll go off for a short break and we'll be back very shortly. So, don't go away, as they say. And we're back again with the games after 5 games, and Matt Forsyth still leading with 20-20. 244 average. And coming up strong now is Yanis Stathatos from Greece, had a 278 in that last game. And it's put him 9 pins behind Matt Forsyth. So it's looking like it's between those two for the squad win. And we'll get either one of them down here for the virtual studio interview at the end. Bart van Kerkoven going well, 11.53, tied with Daniel Swift from Malta. And in 5th place, Justin Cicluna with 11.17. Kenneth Harper with 11.16. Maura Anastasi with 10.90. Ben Harvey with 10.81. And in 9th, Daniel Bolson with 10.49. And Jamie Alder bringing up the top 10 at the moment with 10.43. The only other player over 1,000 there is Dennis Machia with 1,004. Yeah, 1 or 2 people not got a good stream today, and everybody else is okay. It may well be your connection, Liliana. If you do a speed test, speedtest.net. Just type that into the chat. Speed test. If you have a look at your speed, it will tell you some numbers. If you want to give me those numbers, Liliana, we could maybe help you out and confirm that it's a good or bad line. About 8 frames to go until the end of this game, and then we'll be back at 1 PM for the next squad. And as I said earlier, we should have super slow-mo videos from our good friend Flavio Cuva. Thanks to everybody that's been watching this first squad of the day. Hope you've enjoyed it. We just got a message from Keith Hale out there in England. Hi Keith, mentioning that the other side of the house, every time we went to there, that this sound was bad. So we'll do a test for you now, Keith. That should be a lot better. We noticed yesterday that there were a setting that we could turn down, and just noticed then that the volume had moved back up on that camera. So I've turned that right down. So this should be okay now, Keith, if you want to send us confirmation via Neil that it's okay now. But that's the right side of the house. This end of the house, we've got Maura Anastasi with the front 4. Maro sponsored by Volkswagen over here. Or a Volkswagen car dealership. Liliana, are there any Maltese online who can support my claim that this is slow and right? Right now I'm not seeing or hearing anything. I think it's definitely your connection, Liliana. if you can even hear me. But according to Keith, we had problems with that camera, and I was being drowned out by the noise from the background noise, but it should be okay now. If you want to confirm to me, Keith, somehow, or... No problem here in Holland, says Wilco. Yeah, it must be your connection there, Liliana. When we locked it down, we forgot to save it. It wasn't. It was still on the thing, so I pulled it down and I saved. It'll be okay next time. He failed. I told us I'm still tired. And Flavio says hello, Keith. Sat next to me now. That's Flavio's camera we're using on the right side of the house. And his awesome super slow-mo camera. And Liliana says, oh, we have a super fast connection here at work. I'm not sure why you would be having problems. Are you watching it through a particular browser? You seem to be the only one that's having a problem. Do you know what the best thing to do is, Liliana? Take the day off and come and watch it. And Keith's off on a coffee break, I think, says Neil. And this camera's okay, it's the one in the middle that's sticking. That's strange as well, because you want to see the size of this camera. It's a super duper camera. But we'll come over to the other side of the house now, because we've got players on runs of strikes. Onto the middle of the house. Just watching the squad leader there, Matt Forsyth, strike again. And it's a toss-up between him and Yanis Dafatos. And we'll know in a moment or two which one it looks like is going to take the squad. We'll get them up for a quick interview in the QubicaAMF virtual studio. Thanks again to QubicaAMF for putting money into the event this week. Passed it over to the tournament via Talk Tempin. So each squad carries a €50 squad win prize. It's a right touch. Dan Balsam on a 9 spare 4-bagger. Just comes up through the face and leaves a split. I don't know. Neil Dent sat in his office watching live streaming when he could come out and watch it in 3D. It's 8K 3D we're watching it out. If you're in the centre, that is. Even smell-o-vision. Now it's much better, but it's got nothing to do with my PC here. I watch everything perfectly usually. I find when something doesn't work, either hit it with a hammer, throw it out of the window, or get very angry and turn it off. I think he's doing it to annoy me, Dom. You know him then. Take the day off, Liliana. Stomachache's usually a good one. Oh, I don't feel well. Just, we'll make sure we don't tell anybody on the live stream that you're not working. And Marco on the chat there saying the connection from our control room is okay. Well, we're managing to get to Holland okay, but we're not managing to put a good stream on for Liliana in Malta. But apologies for that. Oh, Yanis Thathatos on 9 spare 5 bagger. Looks like he could well be the squad winner. But Matt Forsyth also stringing the strikes now. 8 spare, 9 spare, 8 spare 4 bagger. And how many pins were there between them? There were 9 pins between them. Bart van Kerkhoven, where is he? Is he having anything big? It's out of view at the moment. It looks like it's going to be between Yanis and Matt Forsyth. More Anastasi on a 2:79 pace. First 4, then a 9 spare Turkey. Yeah, people are watching it on Firefox okay and Google Chrome. It's maybe something to do with your internal system, possibly. So about 3 or 4 frames away from the end of the block, and we will have our squad winner. Then there'll be a break and we'll be back at 1 PM for the next squad. Liliana says I'm okay now these past 5 minutes. Damn, right at the end of the streamer, it starts to work okay. We'll be back at 1 o'clock, Liliana. A lot of companies kind of block certain websites, don't they? Or they restrict them, or... Ooh, more Anastasi, loving that one. 2:79 pace still. What will that give him? $13.69, something like that if he goes off the sheet. And he knows he needs that to get through, so... He did say he wanted about 13.60 plus at least. I think he's already got about 13.60 or 13.70 on the scorecard. Ah, thank you. €50 just turned up for the squad winner. Oh, a big split for Yanis Thathatos. Could well give Matt Forsyth a chance to take the last game. He had an open in frame 8 and he's just left a 7 count, so it could still go either way. It looks like Yanis at the minute. Oh, and Matt Forsyth chopped it, so Yanis just has to stay clean. 181 can finish with a 211. For Matt Forsyth, and Yanis is on 190 in the 8th. So yeah, it looks like Matt Forsyth, he was 9 pins ahead of Yanis, so it looks like Yanis is going to get the squad win. I just need to nip down to the lanes to find out how Bart Kakovan's doing, just to make sure he's not going to jump those two. So yeah, Kakovan is not going fantastically well in this game, so it looks like it's going to be Yanis Tathatos. He's just left a 10 pin in frame 9. So he's on for a 232. Liliana says, can't block mine. I take care of everything concerning webs here. Facebook, web page, a web page, etc. Well, I'm at a loss, Lillian, I don't know. So, yeah, Yanis Tathatos. Mauro Anastasi finishes with a 268 in that game, 13.58, 14.20 for Matt Forsyth. And we're just waiting on Yanis Tathatos finishing. He's already on 14.13. Yep. Yep, perfect. Oh. Thank you. So just got a frame to go, and we'll get Yanis up. He can finish with 14.43, I think, if he strikes out. So yeah, thanks again everybody for watching this squad. We'll be back at 1 PM, but we're going to interview Yanis, so stick around for that. We probably have scores right at the end to just give you a rundown. If not, check out EdenSuperBowl.com for the very latest scores as they happen. Also remember to go to bowlingdigital.com and talktemping.net for further reports and information, and the Facebook pages of the Malta Open Championships and Talk Temping. Leaves a single pin, Stathopoulos. Yanis's English is okay, but it's not fantastic, so it might not be the greatest interview we ever do. But he's not too bad with his English. He might have trouble understanding me. But then again, what's new? I can hear you all saying that in the background. So one more shot for Stathopoulos. And it's a strike. And he finishes with 14.42, Marco. I'll give Yanni a shout. Translator. Yeah, Yanis is not overly confident, so he's wanting one of the guys to come and be a translator for him. So we'll have Yanni up in a minute. This will be one of them interviews where you say, so you bowled well? Yes. Are you happy with the way you bowled? Yes. Will you bowl again? Yes. What ball did you bowl with? A Brunswick one. Better swap headsets around, get one ready for Yanni. So bear with us a moment, folks. But we have got some scores. And as we said, 14.42 for Yanis Stathopoulos. Or Giannis, they've got him down as, but it's different every time I see it. Matt Forsyth was in second, 14.20. Third was Bart van Kerkhoven with 13.65, tied with Daniel Swift and Mauro Anastasi with 13.58. In sixth, Kenneth Harper with 13.37. Justin Shickluna with 13.34 in seventh. Jamie Elder in 8th with 12.79. 9th was Ben Harvey with 12.76 and Daniel Balsam in 10th with 12.53. Elsewhere on the English side, James Wigmore back in 13th with 11.95. Ian Alexandru with 11.25. Where's Yanni? Lost him, I don't know where he's gone now. Maybe don't want his 50 euros. Should we'll share the 50 euros if he don't come? Headset on. Yanis, we got you now, yep. Right, okay, we go then. Yanis Tathatos, 1442. There's your €50.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you change much across the house?
What?
Did you change? You bowled the same shot all the way across the house, or did you move?
No, all the lanes the same. I play inside. The lane's very nice. It's easy.
Yeah.
The pattern.
Which ball did you play with?
Game breaker too.
Brunswick.
No, Bonite.
Oh, Ebonite. You not bowling Brunswick now?
No, I changed.
I changed. This was your second squad?
Yes.
Much better than the first one, obviously.
Yes. First squad I do 80 over on.
Did you do anything different?
Yes, I changed the ball. The first squad I play with Honor, with pearl ball, but now I play with solid ball.
And you're a former ECC champion?
Yeah?
Yeah. What year was that again? What year?
What?
What year did you win ECC?
2009.
2009, and still a Greek international, of course.
Yep.
You still living in Cyprus?
No, now I live from Greece again.
Oh, you're back in Greece, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say apart from well done. And we'll see you in the final.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Winning it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.